Now, here is where I do this. Does everybody understand how I came to these two answers? Okay. What is sine? It is opposite over hypotenuse, correct? I want the sine of A. What is opposite of A? 8. 8 over hypotenuse. What is the hypotenuse? I do not know. But fortunately, it's a right angle triangle, and I know that it is the square root of 8 squared plus 17 squared, which is 289, plus 64, which is 353. Then, at the end of Pythagoras, you always square root. Square root 353. So the hypotenuse is the square root of 353. Now, I can do sine. 8 over the hypotenuse, which is the square root of 353, which is close to 19. I lie. It is close to 18. No, it is 18 point, so it is close to 19. Now, next question. Does everybody understand that this is not a measurement on the triangle? It is not a side length. It is not an angle. It is the ratio between the opposite side and the hypotenuse, which will then allow us to find an angle if we wanted to. What would change if I told you, if I erased sine here and told you I wanted A? What would you have to do to 0.426 or this fraction? Shift sign it. Does everybody understand? If you still do not understand, you must now tell me what part of those 3 steps is confusing you. Because again, I am stunningly handsome, uproariously funny, and gosh darn intelligent, but I am not telepathic. Suhani. No. If I wanted the angle, there would be no sine in front of it. Sine A means I want the ratio. Again, that is 8 squared, which is 64, plus 17 squared, which is 289. Then you add them. 3, carry the 1. 5, carry the 1, 353. It is Pythagoras. The same as it's been for the last 2,500 years. Yes.
So shift sign is to find an angle.
Shift sign finds angles.
And
Sine finds sides, which is in your notes and on the videos. Yes, Natasha. Ratio is a fraction. The sine is the ratio of the measurement of the opposite leg divided by the measurement of the hypotenuse. That is what a ratio is. Yes. Because I wanted the sine of A. So you had to do Pythagoras to get the hypotenuse, so you could do O over H. Any more questions? And by the way, this has been your most productive 5 minutes of class since the beginning of the year. Everyone. Because you are actually asking questions about things you do not understand.
Isn't sine A asking for like this side?
No. Sine is asking for a ratio. The ratio of opposite over hypotenuse.
So it's just wondering what like the formula is?
The formula is sine is opposite over hypotenuse.
But like the filled in formula?
Is the sine of A and then the numbers that are opposite over hypotenuse.
Yeah, I know. So is that what the question is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That is why I wrote sine A equals, I don't know.
Okay.
Any other questions from the first one? Going once. Going twice. Going thrice, which is a real word. You can look it up. All right? Okay, now, prove it. What is the cos of A? I just changed the measurements. You all just told me you understand it. Now tell me what the cos of A is.
That's a 14, right?
Yes, that is a 14. Thank you, Toya. Although you don't need that 14. Well, you do need that 14. Does anybody have a fraction for me yet? 19 over the square root of 557. Or 0.805. Now, if you couldn't do this after the last 5 minutes of discussion, you are in trouble. You need to get out of trouble, which means you have to do one of three things. One, you have to see me for one-on-one assistance without the distractions of your friends sitting by you, and without the distraction of your phone, without the distraction of your embarrassment at asking a question in front of 30 people. If that doesn't work, or you are still uncomfortable seeing me in a one-on-one situation, which is fine, that is your opinion, as Selena and I were talking, that is okay. I can't control your feelings. Then you must do the second option, which is go and talk to one of the many other math teachers in this school with whom you have a relationship. If that doesn't work, you must go to your third option, which is finding out for yourself by going to the internet or other resources. What are the other resources? Your friends that do get it, older brothers and sisters, older cousins, moms and dads that still know how to do trigonometry. Yes. Pardon me? Again, the ratio is a fraction. The cos always equals the fraction of A over H. A is whatever number is adjacent. H is whatever number is the hypotenuse. Adjacent to A is 19. After you do Pythagoras, the hypotenuse is the square root of 557. So the cosine of A is the adjacent, 19, divided by the hypotenuse, square root of 557. I cannot make it clearer. There is nobody in the world that will use different words than that. So it doesn't matter whom you go see. They will use the exact same words as that. So if you do not understand those words, you must figure that out because I don't know how else to explain it. Jasleen. Okay. All righty. Moving on to number 2. What is the cosine of Q? Since I said cos, I want a ratio. What is it? (15 over 25) is the one level answer. That is minimally meeting my expectations. McKenna. 0.6 is the 2 level answer, meeting my expectations. 3 over 5 is the 3 level Okay? Is it possible to get a 4 here? Can you exceed my expectations? No, because you could maybe write both. Does everybody understand? Going once. Going twice. Yes, Ganika.
So do you divide 3 divided by 5?
Of course you do, because that is what that symbol means.
So first you should reduce it and then you should...
Of course, but you don't even need to reduce it to get the decimal, because 15 divided by 25 is also 0.6. Does everybody understand? Okay. Down to this one. I need x. So, I check and I say to myself, self, I have a theta of what? 32. What else do I know? My hypotenuse is 12. What do I need? My opposite, which is x. What uses O and H? Sine. Sokatoa. Sine of 32 equals O over H. How do you get rid of this? 12 sine 32 equals x. And then you have to go to your calculator. Who is the only person that can work your calculator? You. So whose responsibility is it to learn how to use your calculator? You. Did your favorite math teacher explain how to use every possible calculator? Yes. Did he video it? Yes. Can you access that at any time, anywhere on the face of the earth? Yes. What? I do not care how many steps you skip, Brendan, but if you don't give me the right answer, which is... Just one sec. If you don't give me the right answer, which is 6.4, and you have skipped some of those steps, I do not know how to help you because I don't know what you did. Okay? So if you are consistently getting the right answer, you can skip all the steps you want. But bear in mind that in grade 10, which is the beginning of difficult math, you are now, this is very similar to the math in grade 3, right? It is one step and you've got your answer. What happened over here? Was it one step to your answer? No. So you'd better not get lost in your own steps by skipping any. Cool? Cool. Ganika.
On the quiz, if we need to find the ratio, will you write post Q or will you
Well, Ganika, I will ask you what I want you to do on your quiz. Of course I will. I won't just draw a triangle and say, do it. You need to have somewhere to get to, right? Okay. McKenna.
So because it's x over 12, then you would multiply it by sine 32.
Of course you would.
12 over x, then you would do 12 divided by...
Of course you would, because you know algebra from the 8th grade. Because sine 32 is just a number. So if I gave you this, 6 equals x over 12, you know how to solve that. If I gave you 6 equals 72 over x, you know how to solve that. Well, the only difference is this is not 6 anymore. It is whatever decimal your calculator gives you. But the math is the same because it is just a number. Much like pi is just a number. So all the algebra rules apply to it. Moving on to the red one. Now, what is different about the red one? I actually want an angle, right? Which means what must I do? Shift. Now, you have a choice because you have all three sides. Which of those three sides is a really poor decision to use on your calculator? Is it leg? Is it leg or is it hypotenuse? It is hypotenuse. Why? Because the square root of 58 means you must hit an extra button on your calculator. And since you don't need to use it, why would you? You don't need it. So to find x, since you have an O and an A that are nice, easy numbers to work with, why wouldn't you use tan? And opposite is 3 and adjacent is 7. So you shift tan 3/7 to get whatever the angle is. I believe it is 23.
Yeah. Very similar.
Yes, of course you could use the square root of 58. It just requires you again to punch an extra button. And again, if you hit the wrong button, you will write down what your calculator says, because you will not take 1 second to go back and check that it makes sense. And that's okay. All right. Last question. You need to find y. In order to find anything in a triangle, you must have what pieces of information? You must have what? Either two sides or an angle and a side. Yes? If you have all the angles, does that help you? No, not at all, because angles are not affected by length of side. So you must have either a side and an angle or two sides. Since I need y in this purple triangle, I must need two angles, or two sides, or an angle and a side. Do I have any of those? No, all I have is one angle. But I have prior knowledge, don't I? I know that if that and that are the same, then that angle and that angle are the same, which means this is 45, right? If that is 45 and that is 45, what does that make this? 90. So now I'm looking for a hypotenuse, which I still cannot get, can I? Not yet. I need one more side. Now, I can't do anything. I can't do anything over here. But I sure as heck can find that side, can't I? Because I have this triangle. And that triangle has a theta of 24, an opposite of 4, and an hypotenuse of what? I don't know. So I do my trig. Sine 24 equals opposite 4 over x. So x equals 4 divided by sine 24. And that will give me an answer. Now I'm going to need that answer again, aren't I? So I go to my calculator and I get it. 4 divided by sine 24, because I have a forward calculator. There is my answer. On my paper, what should I write down? Just so I have something. I should write 9.8, right? And 9.8. But to get the best possible answer, should I not leave that on my calculator? Yes. Now, of course, I know that y equals the square root of leg squared plus leg squared, yes? So on my calculator, I have my leg, don't I? So I go squared plus, I'm going to use my answer button again, squared, and I'm going to get that. Then what am I going to do? Square root at the end, because it's Pythagoras, and you always square root at the end to get 13.9. Okay? Okay. Now, we have taken a very long time that I am more than willing to spend. Because as you can hear, when you guys finally have accepted that this is indeed a safe space, where you are allowed to ask any questions you wish, be they about math or anything else, and I will answer them as seriously as I possibly can. Today, you actually ask some questions, and you can see how much more productive the class has been. Yes. Of course you could have done sine of 45. Right? And that, Suhani, makes me very happy that you know that. You could also have done cos of 40. You could also have done tan. Okay. Well, tan, of course, you couldn't have done because you're looking for the hypotenuse. All righty. All righty. Now, I'm going to give you your quiz. I'm going to give you 12 and a half minutes. The last question is similar. The last question is similar to this. You must use information given that is nowhere a part of the final answer in order to solve it. Okay? Okay. When I hand this out, you are going to write your name on it, and I'm going to start the timer when I say go. Remember, there is no need to be stressed because it is a stickle fritz and it does not affect your grade. It simply allows you to see some levels of questions that are more difficult. If you cannot remember SOHCAHTOA, I have graciously written it on the board for you. Why? Because my Grinchy heart is 3 sizes too large. They're coming. They're busy.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're only slowing down Mateus and Sophie. Ready? Go. many people need more time? Still? Okay, once again, I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, this means you're not ready. Okay? If you still need more time, you're not as good at trig as you think you are. And I remind you again, quizzes don't count, so chill. I'm giving you 3 more minutes, and then we are stopping, whether you are done or not. Don't bring it to me, we're marking it.
Does vertex mean from here to here?
Of course it does. Okay. Vertex is the corner of an angle. That is it. That was almost 20 minutes. Oh, crap. I recorded all 20 minutes of sitting there. Oh, well. Where is your people's quiz? All right. We will wait for our good friend Catherine. Okay. I'm feeling purple today. Okay. We are a little bit short on time, so we're going to go ahead and trust that Catherine will be able to sort it out in a moment. Now, in this first question, this is how long it should have taken. Theta, 23. Opposite, 8. You need an adjacent, equals little f, and you need an hypotenuse, which equals little g. Tan 23 equals 8 over little f. Sine 23 equals 8 over little g. So, little f equals 8 divided by tan 23. Little g equals 8 divided by sine 23. And of course you know that this is 67. So all you had to do was do the math on 8 divided by 23 tan for me, because I have a backwards calculator, is 18.8. So FH had to be 18.8, which is D. Oh, sorry, I was doing tan. GH had to be 18.8. So once you had 67 and GH at 18.8, you didn't even need to finish it. Next question. At a point 25 feet from the base of a totem pole. Okay? Totem pole. Totem poles are planted straight in the ground and go straight up. Ooh. Yeah? Totem pole. 25 feet from the base, 25 feet because the base is at the bottom, the angle of elevation, which we talked about, is right there. How tall is the totem pole? Theta equals 50.1. Adjacent equals 25. You need the opposite, is x. Tan of 50.1 equals opposite, O over 25. 25 tan 50.1 is 30 feet. C. Next, determine the perimeter of this rhombus. What shape is that? A triangle. What side of the triangle is that? Hypotenuse. Theta equals 64. Opposite equals 3.7. You need a hypotenuse of x. 3.7 divided by sine 64. And you needed how many of those? 4 of them, because it's a perimeter. Oh, the other sides are... No. Ah, yes. Okay. So, no. 1, 1, 1, 1. Those symbols mean parallel. Now, wait a moment. Wait a moment. Of course. So, 3 point... Oh, wait. 3.7 divided by... It is A. Number 4, you needed RS. We just did this question. To do RS, you need that side, which is the hypotenuse of over here. So you, of course, did 8.9 divided by sine 39 to get this, which is 8.9 divided by sine 39, is 14.14. And then over here, you needed cos of 54 equaled, you had your hypotenuse, 14.14, over adjacent. So, of course, it's sitting on my calculator, so I just do times 54 cos, and I get 8.3. Determine the length of QR. So, to do QR, again, it's the exact same question. I have a theta of 83, an adjacent of 15, and I need an opposite. Correct?
Yeah.
So, since opposite over adjacent is on the bottom, it must be 15 tan 83. Which is 122 point blah. Now, you don't even need to carry on really, because if that's 44, this has to be 46, right? Which means these two have to almost be the same, don't they? Right? This went up a little bit less. So what is it? It is D. Now, if you don't know why it's D, then you did the trig for it, which was just tan again. So that took under 5 minutes. So far, with explaining it and drawings. Up to here took 5 minutes. I gave you 20 minutes. Okay, so you're all telling me you spent 15 minutes on this?
I think I spent 3 minutes.
Stop. This regular octagon has a side length of 15. What does that mean every red line is? 15. Great. So that is 15. Agreed? Determine the distance from one vertex to the opposite vertex. What's a vertex? Corner where an angle meets. Right there. To there, correct? Now, what do you know about every green line? They're all the same. So I have this triangle. Don't I? Can I do trig there? No, I have to make a 90. What does that do to that triangle? Cuts it in half. What does 15 become? Now I have this. 7.5, yes? Excellent. How many degrees are there in a circle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many wedges do I have? So what is each of these angles? 45. 360 divided by 8, yes? So this is how big? 45. When I cut it in half, what is it? Half of 45, 22.5. Do I have a theta? What is it? 22.5. What is the 7.5? Opposite, 7.5. What do I need? No. Hypotenuse is x. So, since hypotenuse is empty, it has to be 7.5 divided by sine 22.5, which gets me one green line. What must I do with that? Multiply by 2, which is, oops, I did that backwards because I'm using a backwards calculator that I don't often use. 39.2. That was out of 4. Now stop for a moment. Some of you are going to argue and say, Mr. Myers, you have not shown us how to do that question. You're right. I haven't. I also haven't shown you how to turn left when it's raining and the light is turning yellow. Well, if you were on a driving test, could you possibly have everything? Or are you taught how to drive? You're taught how to drive, and then you apply it, yes? What part of this question was news to any of you? Yeah, you were. We've done many questions where we've cut triangles in half. But why would I need to? Oh, okay. Thank you, Ganika. Yeah. Right? There was nothing new there. Right? You've all eaten pizza. And I know that you've eaten pizza because as soon as I drew those green lines, I heard 7 people say, it's pizza.
I heard 1.
So, that was out of 4, making the whole thing out of 9. Give yourself a mark. No, 9? Was it 9? Was it 9? Yes, it was 9. Now, just for fun, because there's only 8 minutes in class, there's the question I didn't put on there. Go. The quiz is out of 9, but that's the question I didn't put on there. Bonus marks? You couldn't do the first one that was easy. This one's actually difficult. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been recorded. Right? This question has been recorded. Go home, solve it. That's your homework. And you have 24 hours to do it. Tomorrow when you walk into class, I will hit the timer and it will go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That will be the end of your time to solve this. It is being recorded. It is on the end of your quiz. I deleted it from your quiz because I was worried you wouldn't have enough time to get it done. Fortunately, I was right. That is your homework. It's going to be titled the same way all the videos are titled. October 10th, Block C, Trig Quiz. Just like all the videos have the date that we did that class. Yes, Preston. No, that's why I'm recording it. You have to go online. This is how I prove who actually does what I ask them to do. Have good days.